So then, we start off a brand new season of YuGiOh Sevens with a new intro, new ending, while also learning about the aftermath of the tournament that we've just witnessed. Plus, a new character is introduced within this very episode. Hello everyone and welcome to Dueling with Downton, and like I said, we're here to talk about everything episode 53 of the YuGiOh Sevens anime series. Now, the intro and ending breakdown will be in a separate video. But with that being said, this episode overall, I liked it. But the episode itself was very reminiscent of episode 1 from the YuGiOh Sevens anime. And it followed the generic pattern / formula of most card game anime shows to have a new season. And by that I mean they try to reintroduce to us the rules and the way the game works, whether that's through dialogue or using a new character who has never played the game before. So let's talk about that new character, shall we? No, I'm not talking about the Goha siblings, but instead Swirly. Swirly, a little kid dressed up like a chameleon, and I have to say this kid was kind of adorable, not gonna lie on that front. I like the fact that his colour changed based on his emotions, so going red when embarrassed or grey when feeling hopeless. That's a nice gimmick the character has. Obviously fits in with the fact that he's a chameleon and he can blend in with his environment and surroundings like we saw when he tried to hide from Rook. Now, it's quite good that Rook actually saw through that disguise and that camouflage and was able to see him, which makes me believe that Rook can see souls of people? Possibly. Who knows? More on Rook later though. However, could you imagine though if this new kid who had never played or done a rush duel before beat Rook? Well, that luckily never happened, as that probably would have caused quite an uproar and stir within the community. But instead, they got him to defeat a Blue Eyes White Dragon. That's right, a complete noob defeated a Blue Eyes. I'm okay with Swirly joining the main group for now, if they limit his / hers involvement. And by that I mean this character should not be at the focus point of every episode. Doesn't really need to do too much, just kind of give us bits and pieces of the character. I would like to think that this character could be a spy for the next evil group that comes along. But first impressions, Swirly, you get a thumbs up, you're okay. Now then, next up, I want to talk about Rook's character, as I found myself disliking him more and more within this episode. For two reasons. Reason number one, his outfit. Why does he have a guitar on his back and those sunglasses look ridiculous? I personally really dislike those type of sunglasses, so for me, that just didn't really do anything. Was kind of confused as to why they gave him that design, not gonna lie. The second reason is his attitude. We all knew and expected that his attitude was going to be quite poor and over the top, based on the fact that he was quite high on his win and becoming the king of rush dueling. But scaring kids and intimidating them, forcing them to address him in a certain way, was just cruel. Even if Rook is a kid himself, he came across as a bully within this episode. Rook had people running away from him whenever he entered their line of sight. Now that is a massive red flag for any person, let alone the main rival / friend character of an anime. Now they mentioned that maybe Rook saw a bit of himself within Swirly. But even if that was the case, you shouldn't really bully or force someone into doing something they clearly are not wanting to do or comfortable doing. That's exactly what it came across here, when Rook was trying to get Swirly to rush duel or join the club, and Swirly was kind of getting quite upset and distressed at the idea. Yes, he's shy. Yes, he was, out of his comfort zone, but Rook should have picked up on that, and he should have kind of spoken to him in a bit more of a friendlier way instead of more of aggressive with the way he was talking and acting. Now then, I can see the argument occurring in where someone goes, oh, but Swirly likes rush dueling now, so Rook's behaviour towards him was okay. No. I agree with the fact that Swirly likes rush dueling now by the end of this episode. However, the way Rook acted and tried to impose his own desires and wishes onto that character was not a healthy way to interact with someone, and you should never try to force or aggressively persuade someone into doing something they clearly don't want to do at that moment in time. But to Rook's credit, I did think that some of his speeches and words of dialogue during the duel were rather motivational. So that's possibly the only redeeming aspect of his character from this particular episode. Honestly, I think Rook deserved having himself humiliated by Tiger in her releasing that comic of him to the newspaper club and it's spreading round. Was it Luke Man? And I would not be surprised if something within that comic returns again later on and Rook has to face that again. I think that would be pretty cool to see. But at the same time, this episode did not do any favours for Rook's character in my own personal opinion. Learning the fact that Gohar's company is taking a dive after this tournament for the public thinking that they were involved and the ones responsible for rush dueling almost being uninstalled, I thought was a cool piece of information that they gave us. And hopefully this gets expanded on later on. Now there's been talks of riding rush duels entering the show, and it could possibly come next week or the episode after. So that should be really interesting in and of itself. But could this actually be a way of Gohar implementing a style of rush dueling that tries to get them more of a profit and a better public limelight viewing? So yes, I'm suggesting the fact is that the Gohar siblings comes in, Gohar as a company says, right, we've got this idea, we want you to make that publicly known and show it off and show how good this is, and hopefully our revenue and profit will skyrocket. I think that'd be pretty cool. I'm hopeful. Now the whole mask scene with the Gohar drone saying this mask is for this mask is for that. That was just a bit of comedy. It was okay. I like seeing Mimi, so that was a pleasure to see. Oh my god, YuGiOh. YuGiOh being scared of ladybugs was really surprising and kind of wholesome. Please can we get Kaizo turning against YuGiOh and just pranking him and playing tricks on him while being painted like a ladybug as a means to scare YuGiOh for all of the trouble that YuGiOh has put Kaizo through. Kaizo shows signs of PTSD in this episode, having flashbacks of what happened last time and they were there with Otes. Which, PTSD is not something to be laughed at, but at the same time, that segment was a little bit funny, so I have to hold my hands up to that. But no, do not make light of anyone's mental situations, because that's not a good thing. Kaizo's a robot, so we'll give them a pass on that one. The most interesting part though with YuGiOh this episode was that dream sequence of Rush Robot battling and charging towards a meteor. The first episode of YuGiOh Sevens started off with YuGiOh dreaming about Rush Robot running towards Otes. And end of season 1 turns around, Otes is this bad guy and Rush Robot is involved. So could this mean that the Rush Robot and the rush dueling programming data is now the target of our next antagonist? Could they be trying to destroy rush dueling by destroying Rush Robot that is symbolized on the moon now? That line that YuGiOh states, oh, it was a dream, or not, that has a lot of mystery behind it, because this either means YuGiOh has future predicting powers, or he made the connection that the dream last time that he had, where Rush Robot was running towards Otes, and how that kind of panned out in the tournament, meaning that he recognizes now that that dream is kind of alluding him to some big disasterful event happening soon. YuGiOh's been quite smart, so I wouldn't put it past him to think that, but then again, we still don't know hardly anything about YuGiOh, and that opening image teases us even more. Now then, that statue slash hologram of Otes, is it always there? And is it programmed the same way for every encounter? As Otes followed the same dueling pattern in this episode as he did in episode 1, obviously using a Blue Eyes White Dragon and getting it out first turn. Otes may have had a reason that was a bit deeper than what was shown, in order to appear in front of YuGiOh once YuGiOh called for him. Because I don't feel like every time YuGiOh has called for Otes, I do not feel like Otes has appeared. This must be just a one-off occurrence. After all, the information Otes gave was an ambiguous question of, was it really him that attacked and tried to uninstall Rushdoors? From our perspective, as viewers, it looked like it was Otes based on all of the visuals that were given to us. But is there more? Is there something deeper? We'll have to wait and see how that unfolds, but I'm sure YuGiOh, our main protagonist, has his mind racing trying to figure out what those words actually meant. Or could he have a hint at or an idea as to what Otes meant and is worried for future encounters? Oh well, seeing YuGiOh really happy and jolly, knowing that Rushdoors is loved and enjoyed by a lot of people, was just very wholesome and put a smile on my face, because seeing YuGiOh happy and jolly is always a good time. So overall, I liked this episode. It was not the most exciting episodes that we've had from YuGiOh Sevens, but it created a lot of hype for things to come with that new intro and that fun ending. And it gave us more information about the aftermath of the tournament, so that I thought was a good aspect. Plus, Roman had a lot of great expressions within this episode. I loved her faces, brilliant. Here are a few as an example. But I have to say, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, hit that like button. And of course, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. But with all that said and done, I hope you're having a great day. Alligator, matane, goodbye.